All right. Hey, Rad World. Welcome to Spoiling Dead. This is the show that we're going to spoil everything from last night's Walking Dead episode. So if you haven't seen it yet, don't watch this show. Or if you don't care, I guess, about spoilers, then you need to go ahead and watch this show too. But I'm Tony Walters.
I'm Rebekah Erb.
And I'm Shane Crawford.
And we're still on me. There we go. All right, so I think that the best way to do this is to just start from the beginning of the episode and where it began, at least for me, I don't know about you guys, we had, what was it, 2 or 3 commercial breaks before the death that we were waiting on for how many months
They
now?
really tried to string it out as long as they could, didn't they? Because 10 months wasn't long enough to wait. We
Right.
had to wait another 15 minutes.
Like, I think you were saying earlier that you hoped that they just ripped the Band-Aid off.
Get it over with.
I really thought they were going to hold out until the very end of the episode, but thank goodness
That
they
would
didn't
have
do
really,
that.
I think, pissed me
know,
off.
right? I probably would have punched the TV.
Yeah, and another thing. Well, during that sequence too, that the opening first thing was just Rick and Negan, taking him in the RV.
We've already seen it.
Well,
Like,
they had shown that first opening scene before it goes to that first commercial. They had released last week or the week before. I don't know if you watched it on
been a
there.
while.
I had seen
yeah.
that opening scene. Yeah.
Yeah, so we were just on the edge of our seats, waiting for
Come
Something
on, I
different.
different. What are
Yeah.
you doing?
Yeah.
Exactly. So when he takes Rick and he's doing all the editing throughout all of that opening sequence of just keep cutting to the flashbacks. And, every time they kept cutting, it was always in black and white, and I kept thinking, okay, they're cutting, and the last person they show is going to be the one that's dead, and then that wasn't the case either. So I'm just still waiting for that to happen. I don't know what
I was
you
going
guys
by
are
that
thinking.
because you see the first person and think, oh, okay, well, it was Daryl or Daryl's gone or whatever, and then they show Abraham. Okay, well, I guess it's both of them. I don't know what's going on here. They really tricked you. They threw a curveball throughout the entire way.
And what I kind of enjoyed on how they laid out the episode was you knew it already happened when Rick was having his thing with Negan.
Right.
You knew, all of this is going on, and Negan's doing his thing, and back where everybody else is, it's already happening.
Yeah,
I
it's
can't
already
handle
happened.
this.
Yeah, it was the non-linear storytelling that they decided to go with for the episode that I
Yeah.
think drove me the most crazy. Just why can't you just show it to us? That's the
Is
main
it
reason
bad
we're
that that's
here.
what I was saying? Was dude, I don't care what's going on with Rick and Negan. Just take me back to the group. Let me look around and see who's not there.
Yeah.
Right, just let me. You have to show the body. I just want to see who's
I
not
just want to figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so after that sequence, we do finally get the... Well, did you have any thoughts on just the Rick and Negan, just him taking him out there pretty much just to break him like a stray dog or just...
Yeah, and to kind of skip ahead where Negan says to him, Rick, did you even understand what that entire trip was about? And it was pretty neat at the time because watching it, I think everybody was kind of in the boat of, well, what exactly does he have planned here? And I kept seeing his hatchet, and I was like, okay, for sure Rick is going to lose his hand while he's in here.
That's what I kept
Because that
noticing.
happens in the comic books, right?
Go get
Yeah.
go get my axe, Rick. Well, I was pretty sure he was eventually going to take it off, and that didn't happen. So that tricked me, those rascals. But from there, certainly it was a really neat thing to take him in and break him down because, like he said, Rick has been the leader this entire time. He's they've been the bad tough guys who just walk through everybody and just demolish every problem they have, and Rick has been unstoppable. Well, what happens when that unstoppable guy comes up against a better unstoppable guy? If
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's what happened, and it's a really neat thing. Part of me feels terrible because these are my guys, but at the same time, it's kind of neat to see him lose for once.
For sure.
It takes a very cool story arc.
Because he had a good run going there.
Yeah.
He was unstoppable. And he even said that when he was
anything.
in bed with Michonne that
Yeah.
one time. He's like, this is our world. This is ours. And then,
How
it
the
was
mighty have fallen.
Right.
Yeah, that was his whole attitude the entire time. like for pretty much the last season, that he was top dog. Like nobody was gonna mess with their
Right.
group. They had they had everything in control. Like, and that's this whole story arc of Negan is just how easily the control can just easily be taken away.
Sure.
And boy, Negan is just malicious.
He's awesome.
Oh gosh. I hate to love him. I really do. I hate that I love him. Like, I mean, how can you not? Like, I don't want to say fun character, but
He's pretty fun.
No, he's not fun. But he plays it so well. And it's just interesting, especially like watching it the second time after Talking Dead. It was really cool to see, like, he has this going on. Like, he must have been, from the get-go, when the world ended, he probably started in on being top dog, getting this manpower, and really thinking, like, smart in this world. Like, he was already ready for
I was
this
trying
world.
to think, too, of, like, what he possibly maybe he did before
Yeah, me
his
too,
profession.
yeah.
Because I was trying to figure that out, too, just with what we've seen a little bit from so far. Because I haven't read enough of the comics to know his character, or if they even go into his background, which I'm sure they do. But the way that he was talking about, like, now jumping forward further in the episode, when he was making Rick cut Carl's arm off, like that whole sequence, the way that he was talking about how to cut his arm off and what he needed to do, like cut it at a 45-degree angle, it needs to be clean, you have to leave enough skin to flap it over, like all that talk to me made me think he was in the medical
He was
profession.
a surgeon or something?
That
Maybe
totally
I was
makes
thinking
sense.
maybe
Like,
a
I didn't think
surgeon,
of that.
or maybe he was just like a mortician because he's totally comfortable with dead and totally comfortable with killing people.
Watch him have been a car
That
salesman.
makes so much
Right.
sense.
Yeah, but those were just things that I picked up from that. But coming back, like when you get your big reveal of finally who died in the episode, and when we find out it's Abraham, like he's pointed him out, it's clear, but it doesn't happen as quick as like I kind of foresaw it happening. They still go they go through all the same thing, but from the other perspective now instead of first person. So you get all that, and then but even like when he hits him the first time, and then he says like,
"Oh, taking it like a champ."
right, all that, like, I mean, it makes the most sense that that's Abraham because he's just so big and like he's the one that
Yeah, and he obviously, the eeny, meeny, miny, mo, he was just messing with everybody. Like, he knew who he wanted to kill because Abraham was in Rick's field. He was this big guy that had a lot of advantage, like, for Rick. And
he took out his, like,
gonna...
visually the strongest person there.
Yeah.
His right-hand man, as he would have said in the previews,
Right.
Because he asked him that, you have a right-hand man, right? If not, you just have a bunch of work for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, okay, I think you just took care of him.
And then Abraham doing, like, the piece to Sasha, and it was just so sad. It was so sad. I can't take it.
Yeah, I don't know. It didn't hit me when Abraham died. The only thing that I was thinking the whole time was I was kind of laughing at just the comments from Negan, but also
No, that you won. You
well,
won the
no,
bet.
no, well, that's
That's
like,
the
aside
only
from
one
that.
it was.
But aside from that, I was just thinking that I felt relief is what I felt. I wasn't sad or anything. I felt extremely relieved that it wasn't one of our fan favorite main characters.
Right.
Abraham was becoming a fan favorite, but he wasn't.
He's quite there yet.
He wasn't quite there yet. So it was more like relief. Finally, we know who he killed.
Right.
It wasn't Daryl. I mean, like it wasn't. It wasn't Glenn or anybody. Like it was. It wasn't a main character. We're fine. Like it.
But then.
It
But
almost
then-
seemed a little
yes.
anticlimactic.
Exactly,
right?
it was
Like,
anticlimactic.
It's like, well, it was Abraham, but it could have been worse.
Right.
Okay, well, it's
Yeah.
about to get worse.
Yeah, because I was crying over Abraham, but
She was crying over Abraham.
once Lucille got it, I was done for. It was bad.
Well, and then he makes some rude comments towards Abraham's like ex
Rosita.
Rosita.
Yeah, he's like
So that was
putting
your
the bat
boyfriend, right?
Right.
into her face,
Oh,
like look
boy.
at
And
it, like look at all.
That's
of
what
this.
pisses off Daryl.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when Daryl jumps up and punches him. And
then
right
Daryl
then,
gets Glenn killed.
right then,
You knew.
Right then when that happened, I didn't think it was gonna be Glenn. I
No?
thought Daryl was
of
gonna.
course.
I thought Daryl was gonna do it. I thought we were both gonna win the thing.
I did too. In fairness, I was like, oh, Daryl gets
Like
it.
as soon as he punched Negan, I seriously. That's when I grabbed. Like I didn't have any reaction at all until when he punched him. I was like, I'll just like grab my face. Like fuck, he's dead. Oh.
Oh, double oops.
Yeah. But I seriously just immediately was like, oh no, he's done for. Like,
And even how they did it, because it was like the camera was back, so even like they made it seem like yes, they're going right for it, and he passed.
Yeah, they were both in that shot. It was great.
And then like Maggie, I'll find you. Like the last
Is
thing.
that what he said?
That was what he said. Yeah.
The last thing, and even Steve
Yeun.
Is it Yoon? On Talking Dead, he was just like, you know, my wife said that Glenn went out in a very Glenn way. He was not thinking of himself. He was thinking of Maggie and still being selfless, like he always has been this whole
The entire
time,
show, yeah. He's
time.
never thought of himself first on anything. You know, even all the way back at the farm when he hops in the well to, you know, get the bloated walker out there.
Yeah.
He just never once does he think about himself first. So it was spot on. Very great way for him to go out.
Yeah, but can we talk about the makeup there? Like the gore?
That didn't it look great?
It was intense.
It was so gross.
It was
really
extremely
good.
gross
Yeah.
and extremely violent. Probably I mean, I think it's the
had
most violent
eye popping
episode that
out. Holy
we've
cow.
Right
had.
after
sure.
Herschel,
But-
I feel like, you know,
Well,
it's the
even
next
in
step.
Herschel's isn't that bad. Herschel's, you don't even really see it happen. You just kind of see the sword swipe and you see his head fall off, but it's not like a...
No, you see it
But
happen.
it's not...
You totally see it happen.
I gotta think this took the
You totally,
cake. It was-
because he takes
Yeah, well, this
the
definitely took
sword
the
and
cake.
it's like halfway and his head's like hanging off. And,
I might have to rewatch it.
yeah.
But still, during the Glenn, like, you know, like, holy, like, this is just so crazy, his eyes popping out, all this, I was still laughing at Negan.
Well, he's just making little...
Because he was just making little quips.
witty remarks the whole way through, and it's I was in the same boat. I
And
couldn't
had that
help but just
smile
chuckle
on
here
his
and there.
face.
Yeah.
Right, and I think that's props to is it
Jeffrey Dean Morgan?
Yeah, Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Like the amount of charisma he brings to Negan's
yeah.
character. Like
Oh,
this
for
guy,
It's over the top, and it has to be.
yes, it's extremely over the top, and that's what I love. And it's a similar thing that I loved about Abraham's character. Was that he felt like a comic book character? Like he was
Right.
always just way over the,
The
top in
comic
everything that he did.
relief
Yes,
and his little quick quotes.
So they
and
couldn't
little
have two
sayings.
comic reliefs, so they had to get rid of Abraham to have. That's why it is. There can be only one.
there can be only
I don't see
one.
Negan being a comic relief though.
I don't know. He's
No.
just as like violent and scary
He just
as he
plays
is
for the other
hilarious.
team.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's not so
And
bad.
if you really look at it, I don't remember what episode it was, but it was last season, and it was basically, it was when they were going against the people for Hilltop. And that one girl talking to Maggie, she's like, you're the bad guys. We're
Right.
not.
That's-
So if you see it from that point of view, I mean,
That's why I loved that season so much, was because it was the first time that the group that we've grown with
They
and
were
loved,
bad guys.
and
they were the bad
supported,
guys.
and-
yes.
yeah.
And you're starting to realize, oh no, like our team's fighting for the wrong side now. Like
we
what's
could all get
happened?
along great if we just worked for Negan. You know, we don't. No one has to die.
Right. Well, see, and what do you think? Okay, so now moving forward a little bit more, you know, the shock of those characters was, you know, just it was sad and it was crazy, but I mean, basically, I'm kind of jumping to the end here, but right when Daryl is now being taken by these guys.
Right. He said he liked him.
Right.
You know,
So
he's
do you
got
think that
balls.
Daryl's going to end up fighting on this side? He's going to have to, right, to
He's
live? Like he's going to start
totally going to
making
have
him
I don't
do
think
these
he has
things.
a lot of choice. Yeah.
Yeah.
but that could be, you know, and they're not going to get over this thing for a season. Like, it's going to be
Right.
a couple
Oh, he'll be
seasons
around
to
a couple,
overcome
yeah.
this.
Well, look at
but
the governor. He was around 2 seasons.
Well,
so.
see, but it's
Yeah.
one of those things where maybe they learned their lesson, because with the governor, he was around too long. They shouldn't have brought him back. Like after the
Right.
first season, he should have
it
just
was,
been done.
It was done. Yeah.
So maybe that's why I question like Negan. Maybe he won't last for more than a season because they don't want to overstay his welcome. You know,
That could be.
But if his character is just, I mean, if it just depends on if it keeps going with this momentum that they've just started, then it would be great. And that's another thing is, do you think that this episode would have been better as the season finale of the last one?
You know that I think that
I
cliffhanger.
don't think so.
I have a feeling the turnout of people that watched this one was probably bigger than any they've ever done.
I agree.
And this is the 7th season.
Yeah.
So you know, I gotta think they nailed it. I think
Oh,
they
I
did it right.
I think
as much
that-
as I hate it, and hate to
Completely.
Right.
say
Well, this
that,
is this, and
Yeah.
I think that marketing standpoint,
this was
probably
the way to
great,
go, yeah.
probably a good way to go. But as far as storytelling, we'll find out. Start with episode 2, but the momentum, like when a season ends on something crazy, like if this would have been the season finale for the last one, they could have started this season however they want to start. They could have started it kind of slow, because when you have that big season break and you jump back into it, usually most shows start out a little slow before they start getting back into whatever was happening. So with episode 2, is it the show drastically gonna slow down?
It is.
Well,
Yeah, even Gimble, one of the producers, Scott Gimple. Yeah, he even said the next episode is going to be lighthearted. It's going to be a little bit more funny. It's going to give your heart a break, basically.
I'm of the mind here that the show is going to take a very different turn from what we're used to. I mean, because you're going to see, we're used to just watching one group.
Right.
And the vibe I get is they're about to split into very different ones. I mean, you already see it with Carol and Morgan, who are in the other group. And then Maggie is about to go do her own thing. So it's, and that's going to leave Rick with the fallout and the people that stay with him. So you're going to just have a very different thing. So you're going to be following so many people at once. It's just going to be chaos every episode instead of just one linear.
Yeah. They did that a season before last season, I think, where the group was kind of split. So
after the prison.
Yeah, it was kind of like,
I actually liked it.
I liked it a lot. And I'm not even the biggest Walking Dead fan, but I liked the storytelling element that they introduced, because the whole after the prison, like that whole rest of that season was only like a week span or something, but they had enough episodes filled because they had to keep switching groups.
Yeah, because each episode was for each
day.
Group.
Whereas the first season was 6 months, this one was 1 week.
Right, exactly. All right, so we've gone basically. We kind of jumped to the end, but I think the other big moment of the episode.
I have one question I wanted to ask. Why didn't he take off Carl's arm?
All right, that's what.
Are you in on that?
I'm so in on this. Okay, so Negan, they are known for, popping somebody to make it known, like, okay, you are our workers now, we need half of your stuff. And so it still wasn't clicking to Rick. He killed Abraham.
Gave him that look.
And he gave him that look like, and he even said it.
I'm going to kill you.
Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, Rick, you're an idiot. And then he's just like, oh, he's still not getting it. So, bam.
Let's take a trip.
But then it was Glenn, and then he still wasn't getting it. He still had that look, like that just like frustration.
That look of defiance.
And yes, and he's like, okay, no, this isn't changing it. So he took him on a trip, saying like, hey, like, I obviously know what I'm doing, let me scare you some more. Still, he's like, you're still giving me a look, I don't like that look. So let's do your son thing. And that really, really messed with him, and that's when he gave him the look that he wanted. That complete fear and, okay, like,
obedience.
I'm gonna do what you want me to do.
To let him know he's completely powerless in this situation. It doesn't matter what you think you can do or what you've done before, you can do nothing now.
And in turn, like, then it made the audience
I was
like feel that too.
I fully believed that he was about to cut Carl's arm. I thought, what a nice little twist on the comic books to have Carl lose his hand instead of Rick.
Right.
So I fully believed it was going to happen, and even when Carl says "just do it," like I was like, "Oh,
his hand, like, so messed up. My heart hurts."
But I don't think that Negan is your question. Just why didn't Negan have him fully go through with it?
Right. It's almost like you create a little bit of Stockholm syndrome with that. That's kind of the vibe I got, because now Rick can almost be like, "Oh, thank goodness he spared his arm."
Right.
Oh, sure, he just killed two of your best friends, but.
That's kind of what I think it is. It's manipulation.
Yeah, because that's the thing. We're not just dealing with a maniac. We're dealing with a genius maniac.
Oh, for sure.
So he knows every move he's making, and that's why he's so much better than Rick, is because he thinks steps ahead.
Yeah, I mean, that was proven in the last episode of last season when they're trying to get Maggie to Hilltop.
And
every time and it was a bigger group, and obviously Negan knows the area. I don't know if he's just been in that area since the beginning, or he's like lived and born and raised in that area. But I mean, even when they cut off into the woods,
they blocked everything
right there. So definitely a mastermind.
Now, as far as we've already said, you blatantly threw it out there that it's Daryl's fault Glenn's dead.
I did.
So Daryl, the character of him, he is definitely going to feel that way too.
Yeah.
Maggie is probably going to feel that way as well.
Oh,
but do you think that Maggie also feels guilty herself, because if she was not pregnant and having the problems that were happening, none of them would have died?
That's true.
I
she did say that in the episode.
totally agree. Like, these two deaths have such an impact on 6 specific characters, and those 6 specific characters now are going to have their own mental issues to deal with. And I do agree that Maggie feels guilty, because
Yeah,
That's the reason why they're out there, is because of her.
I really have to believe that they were going to reach that destination sooner or later anyways. And ironically, they were saying that every time they came up to the roadblocks in the previous episode. You know, it doesn't matter. You're still going to get to where you're going. So I think whether or not they had to leave for Maggie, I think that situation was still going to come to them.
Oh, for
Yeah.
sure.
But whether
For
or not
sure.
they'll see it that way, I doubt it.
Right. And plus, I mean, Negan's group obviously was doing their research. Like, they knew them. They knew, like, they probably had little scouts everywhere.
Yeah, they have a lot of scouts everywhere and all that
Killed a lot
stuff.
of
Like,
people.
but because the idea of it too is like, well, it's awfully like. I mean, I didn't get a chance to rewatch the previous episodes, and I really wanted to. But when they go to take off, you know, it's like, how did Negan know that they were going to run her to the hospital? Like, I mean, he has to have some kind of spies somewhere. But I mean, he rallied his army like that in order to block them from doing that. So I mean,
Not only his
it's
army, but like the machine power that he has behind it is pretty impressive, because just to send a message to this group, to Rick's group, they cut down logs and
He did say
blocked
that.
off
It took a lot of
the-
resources to show you this, Rick.
yeah, like, holy cow.
Yeah. Yeah. I thoroughly enjoy his character. I'm excited to see where Negan's character goes, and I'm excited to see, you know, the group is, you know, because I like the little. Did you watch the sneak peeks for like what's to come in this season, like right after the episode?
No.
No, you didn't watch any of it.
What
Like
was
it was
next
just like
to
a
come?
small little like 30-second little trailer for the season.
Oh, no, I don't know.
But there was just one line in there where Rick says, "I'm no longer in charge," like talking to his own group. Negan's in charge.
Got it.
And that was, maybe it's shadow games because he's always done that with the public side of. But I don't feel like it is. I feel like he really is broken. I think that Maggie is going to become the alpha in this.
Could be.
Well, she even said, like, let's get him. Like,
Right.
that's the first thing. She's the first one to stand up, and she's like, we need to stop him.
There's revenge in her heart, like.
And,
The previous season, she was already kind of building that
You're right.
background, like building.
Rick actually made her negotiate with the Hilltop leader at the time.
And not just that, but Diana.
Right.
You know, she was
Right,
automatically
Maggie
kind
was
of
in
her
place there, too.
sidekick there,
That's right.
and doing like the more political side of things.
It's kind of like Rick was the conduit to get them all to this point, but now it's like he's done all he can. You know, he brought a large group of people to get him here, and now he's like, hey, this is out of my skill set, out of my pay grade. Someone else, you know, I've brought you this way. I've taught you everything I can. Good luck, Maggie.
Yeah.
Is there anything from this episode that you guys didn't like? Is there anything that bothered you at all? Like, I mean, not
the
Other than the obvious.
other than the obvious, yes.
The image of them around the table, I was PO'd.
Really? Why?
At first, like,
She was
why?
very
Like,
upset.
how dare them play with our emotions like that? They take two beloved characters and then show us this image with Glenn's
baby,
son,
yeah.
and then there's Sasha sitting next to Abraham, and she has a belly.
Right, right.
You know, they
Yeah.
poured the Bisquick and made pancakes. And
Why-
like, how dare them? Like, I was mad. But then I watched it the second time after Talking Dead, and I'm like, okay, that image is kind of cool. Like, I'm glad that they showed that to us, and we can experience that, even though we're not truly going to be able to experience
It
that.
was to show him what could have been, right?
Yeah,
you know,
but-
maybe in
I
a
was
different
mad
life,
at
this is what
first.
you could have had.
Yeah.
Right. And I thought it was. I mean, it was like pulling at the heartstrings. You know, I mean, it was very manipulative in the
Oh,
making of the
it's
episode to
cruel.
try and get you to
So
cry a little bit
cruel.
more. But at the same time, for me, it was actually just a little heartwarming. It was just like this last. You finally, you get to see the two characters again sitting at the same corner of the table. You know, obviously. But all right, I think that's all I've got. As far as my notes, is there anything any topics that you wanted to throw in here real quick before we?
Well, maybe not. I do want to say, though, that I know we said, Glenn's last word was really, really sweet, but Abraham's last words was totally
Oh.
Abraham. Oh my goodness gracious. Are we allowed to say it?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Suck my nuts. Like, totally Abraham. That's cool that they did that. I mean, that he went out like Abraham.
Yeah, he went out like Abraham.
And then
That was
even
great.
on Talking Dead, it was hilarious. He walks out, and Daryl, you know, has his little glass of wine. Abraham pulls out a flask and is just like drinking out of this flask. And then, you know, Negan comes out and they have like a little bit. Then Abraham pulls out a cigar, stands up, and does like the suck my nuts motion to Negan. And it was just, it's fun to watch that because now you can laugh about it a little bit.
I watched an interview with him for like Entertainment Weekly, I think. I watched it today. And she, the woman who was interviewing him, said something about like, oh, you know, like it sucks that you're dead, like that, you know, that like, you know, they killed you off, and he's like, yeah, but I got killed by Jeffrey Dean Morgan, like that's awesome.
That's pretty awesome. That's the way to go out for sure.
That was a neat thing that Steve Yoon had said, Glenn, whenever he was on the Talking Dead episode, was, you know, that was a very iconic death, and he was like, I wouldn't want that to go to any other character but Glenn.
Right. Like the fake death that Glenn had got in the previous season didn't even feel like a death worthy of a
that
character.
Yeah.
So do you think that took away at all from him dying right now?
It's kind of funny because right when that happened, I said something along the lines of, "You won't be hiding in a trash can this time." So I LOL'd to myself a little bit on that.
His lucky dumpster.
Yeah.
But you know, it might have. Everybody was kind of seeing Glenn as the escape artist, like, oh, Glenn can't die.
Right.
But also, all the characters have gotten that aura of invincibility around them that they just couldn't die. If you're a main character, sorry, man, you can't die. If you were a main one from the very start, you definitely, you were unstoppable.
I hope that this sets a new trend for the show, and they didn't do this just for ratings, and then we don't see any real weight to anything else. Like you know, I want to see it basically in this season. I want to see at least another main character eat it before the end of the season.
We want to see consequences for actions.
Right.
I mean, and not just this invincible team that gets really great ratings. You know, when they make a terrible choice, it seems like maybe they should get punished for it a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
But, you know, and they haven't been in the past.
And what I really like about just like this whole thing, the actors and the creators of it, they truly love us fans. Like, they don't do it for the ratings. They just don't do it for, you know, they genuinely want to create this story. I mean, for themselves, of course, but
I wouldn't say that they don't do it just like they definitely do a lot of things for ratings.
It is very neat
because that's show business. Of course they do, but I really think they genuinely care about this project and the audience.
There's a reason why they killed the people they killed in this episode, and that was because of all the backlash that they got for how they ended the last season.
Right.
So they knew they had to kill somebody that was impactful, and I think the whole fake death scenario with Glenn was like, you know, shadow games with like us as the audience, because it made everybody think, oh, Glenn can't die because they just killed him like a few episodes back. They just tried that, didn't they? Like,
it's, as you were saying, it is great to see how attached the actors are to their characters. So you can, you know, when they're a family on there, and it is very cool to just see how they respond to the crowd and how they interact with everyone. So
yeah, because it's all of them trapped in like rural.
Where are they at?
Rural Georgia.
Is it Georgia?
Yeah, they're in Georgia. They shoot it in Georgia,
Yeah.
but it's just all of them like trapped in, you know, small towns of Georgia, trying to, you know, for, you know, however many months on end, like shooting the show.
How is Eugene gonna get by without Abraham?
He's second level now. He
did level up.
Remember,
He did level
leveled
up, but still,
He even said that.
Oof, I don't know, man. It's gonna be a tough pill to swallow.
It is.
Do you have any questions over there? Any comments from the audience? We got one from Tyler Garner.
Hey, Tyler.
If you could trade one character for Glenn or Abraham, who would it have been?
Shane.
What?
He would fit in so perfectly to what they
Like,
need
if he was
now.
still alive?
Well,
like, is that what you mean? Or ones
Oh,
that are
no, he's saying, like, to
already
kill
there.
off
Oh,
I
okay,
just
I'm
see
not
the concept.
reviving anyone. I'm just trading it. I would get rid of Daryl.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, Daryl. You gotta go.
I honestly, I probably would say, I would have said either Daryl or Maggie. But I kind of, now that what has happened, I like the idea of Maggie becoming like the stronger character in the show. And I think that Daryl has already had his character arc.
He has.
And
He's
for
done.
like the past 2 seasons hasn't really, I feel like, done a whole lot.
He's just there. He's offered all he can offer.
What about you?
I think.
Can't we all just get along?
I think Rosita.
Oh
Yeah.
no!
Yeah.
Why? You must defend your choice.
I'm not the fondest of her character. Even when like her and Abraham had their thing going on, I just.
Would you trade Rosita for Abraham or Glenn?
Oh gosh, that's a hard one. I'd have to say Glenn. Like Abraham, I genuinely was sad, but Glenn was a big thing.
If they would have killed off Abraham and Rosita, I would have just been like, screw the show, I'm done watching it, because there's no consequences for our main characters.
I'm just thinking inside the question. I'm not thinking of like how it would affect the rest of the story. I'm not going too far.
You just didn't want to lose any of your favorite characters.
Yeah,
That's
basically.
Have we thought of how much of a Black Widow this makes Sasha look like? Every time she gets close to someone, they get killed. You know, Abraham, Bob, who was before that? Anybody she gets near, just, you're dead. She needs to stop dating. She could date Rick, because Rick, we know he goes that way.
Michonne.
Yep.
It's Michonne and Rick, though.
I know. Maybe they could get some kind of menage a trois going.
PG-13 here.
PG-13.
Oh, right, of course. To hold hands together.
All right. All right, I think that wraps it up. Everybody good? Nothing?
Bring it out.
I might. What's our time?
We're at half an hour.
Oh man.
Make it fast.
I think I'm good.
Okay. You good?
I think I'm good.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us on this week's episode of Spoiling Dead. Be sure to come back next Monday and every Monday after that for the foreseeable Walking Dead future here. So every Monday, 7 o'clock, you can catch us here. I'm Tony Walters.
Rebekah Erb.
Shane Crawford.
And we'll catch you guys next time on Rad Entertainment.
See ya.
You have to push the stop streaming button.
And that's a wrap.